So, been asked to do a video on bad habits. So in this video, that's what we're going to be doing. Crazy busy day, trying to keep up with this YouTube channel. Lighting's a little bit terrible, but as we go through it, we're going to uncover the bad habits and what we need to do to break them when we're going into development or taking it into a circle, and the benefits of listening and dropping those bad habits. So, as you can see, I'm not set up. This is literally off the cuff. Let's get rid of that. And the lighting and everything's bad, so I'm gonna let's set a light up. And that should look a lot better. Cool, so we're going to go over the bad habits that happen, you know, and a great example, I should have had the studio bit set up ready for the recording, and it's about moving everything forward, and mediumship is exactly the same. Now, as like a sort of disclaimer straight up out the gate, when a new student comes to me, whether it be on Zoom or whether it be in my, in my hometown where I run workshops, seminars and mentoring, or even the residentials that I've done, I always ask the student to leave all their teachings, all their understanding at the door. They can pick it up afterwards. It'll be there waiting for them. But while they're here under my tuition, I'm going to try and show them a different way. I'm not saying it's the right way or the wrong way, or it has to be my way. I'm going to show them a different way, and then they can pick and choose what they want, or what they want to take forward, or what they want to leave behind as like a lesson. So in this video, that's where we're going to go over a few likely bad habits. So some of those bad habits will be things like asking questions, and this is very, very relevant to most of you. You know, if you've been sitting in my Zoom classes or you're on a residential, the moment you ask a question, you'll hear me shouting out, whether it be in the room or in the seminar or workshop, or in the room, Zoom style. You'll hear me shouting out, "Are you asking me, or are you telling me?" Or "That's the question, you need to present that differently." And it is a massive difference in energy, I'm going to say, when you do things like, did he smoke? I use this one all the time as the example. Did he smoke? You're unsure, you're almost asking them, please take this information, but you know he smoked. So the way that you say that, rather than not trusting yourself or doubting yourself in any way, you just make it a statement. So I know this man smokes. And there's a big difference in the way that statement is delivered. One, I'm unsure, and one, I'm certain. Your client, your recipient, whether it be in development or practice, is going to be a lot more confident in your mediumship if you are making statements rather than saying, did they do this and do they do that? I don't really know. So by presenting your statement as an act of confidence, I know this man smokes, it makes them feel a lot better, and your reading will go much better. Another prime example will be not getting validation on your statement. So as you're building your person up, this would be something along the lines of, I have a lady here and she loves her garden and she fed the birds, and there would be deers coming in, and you know, she loved nature and she loved cooking, but at no point has there been any kind of verification. This is something that needs addressing, no matter where you are in your development, whether you are a professional or whether you are day one novice on mediumship. Learn to get the client to answer you, get the validation that what you're saying is correct. And I've done videos on this where we go along this whole like almost novel of information. There's so much there. But the last statement may be, and this is your dad, which they'll agree to. But because you haven't got any verification prior to that, they're agreeing to the whole story, which may be elaborate, maybe your imagination running wild. And so the purpose of us getting the validation is to help us stay on track, and also getting the yes from the client. They absolutely understand that this is their mum or their dad, and the story that you are presenting is correct, thus showing mediumship. What tends to happen with this one is you end up usually giving too much evidence. So you start, maybe you've got a Zoom group or online group, or in a classroom, whatever the scenario, the same thing happens over and over again. And because you're not getting validation as you're going along with each and every statement that you are giving, you end up giving this like multitude of evidence, like way too much of the story. Initially, you're not getting any feedback, you're not getting any clarification on where you're going, you're just speaking. And an exercise that I will do is not let the client or recipient give any kind of feedback. None. Just don't answer them. Once I've noticed it, just stop them doing it. Stop them speaking altogether. And what happens is the medium will end up in a state of panic, or not knowing where they are right or where they are wrong. And this is the purpose of the exercise, to highlight you're not getting your client involved in this three-way communication. And it is three-way. It's me and the spirit and the loved one, me and the client. And because of that, it needs to work in this relationship way. All sides are equal, all sides are working together to make this communication flow evidentially and with essence. If there's only one point of this triangle being involved, then it's not a triangle, it's just a datum point, isn't it? It's just one person speaking. So bear that in mind, that sometimes you can give too much evidence, but we don't even know if it is evidence, because you're not getting any clarification or validation upon telling your story. Another one of the regular bad habits is repeating the same thing over and over again. So it may be the same evidence that you're going over, and you just keep recapping. You're saying the same thing in a number of ways. This is something that I am quite hard on within my classroom, because it's very natural that you get the yes at one point, and so you say the same thing again, and you get a yes again, and you say the same thing again but with different words this time, and you get a yes again, but we're no further into the story. This is something that I step on quite quickly, because I'm aware that it's the safety of the mind. The medium's doing well and they're in a good energy, but they're reluctant to sort of go any further because they don't want to turn that yes into a no. We have the classic of moving into the psychic mechanic, and because they're moving into the psychic mechanic, they're stepping further and further away from the spirit world. If this isn't caught out early on in the development, that the medium will lack an understanding or a knowledge of when they are working spiritually with a communicator, mediumistically, or whether they're working psychically. And a lot of people that I teach are familiar with the exercises that I bring forward, so they can distinguish whether they are working psychically or mediumistically. A sure sign of this happening during a reading or a demonstration is when all the information is about the person, the client, the recipient, the member of the audience. It'll all be about them. And that's a sure sign that the psychic mechanic has come into play. Not every time, so for the hater that hates the videos, not every single time, the majority of the time, this is what's happened. They've just shifted their awareness away from the communicator and connected on a psychic level. So this is just a very small list of bad habits. You know, there are other ones where you may use the same terminology all of the time. And a few of my students have been guilty of that, where it's I feel, I feel, I feel, or I see, I see, I see, or they tell me, they tell me, they tell me, they tell me. And what happens is you get this repetitive nature within your reading also. And unfortunately, a client or an audience will pick up on this very quickly if it's the same word being used all of the time. Another bad habit. Now, what we do as teachers or as the circle leader or the tutor, whatever term you need there, the reason they are picking up on this or addressing this problem is for the greater good, to make you a stronger, better medium, and that's why you want it. That's why you're in the class, that's why you're in the group, or you know, so on and so forth. That's why you're there, for the improvement. So maybe ease up if you're offended by anything like that, because you're asking for help, you're receiving help, but the ego doesn't like that. And that's normal, that's human nature. But understand where it's coming from. Equally, there'll be people just nitpicking, and that's probably another video that we need to be going over. So, you know, look at it through clean eyes, not just through the ego's eyes or the self-awareness part. Look at it from the greater whole. Why is the teacher asking me to do this? What is it that I can change to improve my connection, to improve my storytelling, to improve my evidence, to improve my mediumship? And every time that you're doing this, you're doing that double check. Your mediumship is only going to get better. So bad habits are normal. This is something very normal, but something that is present in most classrooms, in most Zoom classes, in most of the places that you go to, hence why it needed a video on it. The importance of recognizing these bad habits are going to be paramount for your development and where you want to go. I appreciate not everyone wants to go professional when they do mediumship. Maybe it is just self-discovery, but there is nothing better than you holding full knowledge of how you are and how you operate and how your mind goes, how your mediumship works, how your psychic works. All of this just oozes confidence. It shows that you are in control of what it is that you're trying to present. And so being very aware of your bad habits is a very, very good thing. It don't feel good when they're being pointed out. It don't feel good when you're in a classroom and someone's picking up on one of the little habits that you seem to have picked up along the way through your development, or whether you're a beginner. Of course it don't feel good because we're being told that's wrong, don't do this, you shouldn't do that. I appreciate that, but again, it's for the greater good, for you to understand that the client is viewing you in control. They come to you because they want a medium, and if you're oozing confidence and you've got a clear understanding of what's going on and you've dropped all your bad habits, this is win-win for you. So again, it was just a short video, a video suggestion that someone asked me to cover. I have covered it in various videos, but this is just a refreshed one. So if you liked it or you can get any kind of value out of it, don't forget to give it the thumbs up. Obviously, get in the comments with other bad habits that you've seen or you've done yourself. That will maybe be the safer way for you guys to engage in the video. So your own bad habits and what did you do to change them. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll catch you lot in the next video.